Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present this. Like my proposal, or to say my uh, topic of discussion this afternoon is bridging the gap, revolutionizing the GIS data access in Africa. Yeah, maybe before even going to talk about exploring OpenStreetMap, Leaflet, OpenLayers, and GeoServer, just to talk about the spatial data accessibility in Africa has been a very serious challenge. You may go from country to country in Africa, you realize that this is one of the biggest challenge. Point number one, we don't own any data. Most of the data we are using a second, let me say, second-hand data or proprietary data. If we are to use authentic data, we have to buy it because we don't have platforms, online platform for us to get the data. Those few platforms that maybe probably we might have, like for instance, platforms like Grid3, they're just limited. They are limited to certain countries, even to those countries that they can access those data sets. You find out that those data sets, some of them are meaningless, or even some of them are insufficient or are incorrect. They are not even useful for policy making or for decision making. So we are having a very bigger challenge. So looking back, even to say economical or political, you may find a reason that maybe it's expensive to host such things or to have such facilities that would enable us to have free spatial data access. So therefore, my proposal or my topic is to talk about the exploring this opportunity that we have from OpenStreetMap. OpenStreetMap, if you realize, it gives us a number of data sets for free. For instance, road networks, for instance, building outlines, for instance, places of interest. Of course, it does not give us all the spatial data that maybe a nation might need. Some of the data need to be collected by the interested parties. But what I'm simply trying to propose or say is for us as Africa to explore and take advantage of this open source data that we get from OpenStreetMap and develop some platforms, free platforms that don't need to be paid, open source platforms, by making use of open source libraries like Leaflet OpenLayers for visualization. But then maybe for storage, for it to be meaningful spatial data, we may make use of things like Postgres, PostGIS, and the GeoServer. For the visualization, we have Leaflet OpenLayers, and sometimes we may use a Mapbox, but Mapbox sometimes it has got some proprietary. But as for Leaflet and OpenLayers, they are for free. So basically, as a matter of introduction, this is my background. So like I said, that access to reliable geospatial information is vital for informed decision making and sustainable development in Africa. And it was still a developing continent that really needs this spatial data. Therefore, this spatial data, as we are developing, we're not developed, we are still developing. It is hard for us to rely much on proprietary systems or paid data. If we cannot, in other countries, even access to clean water is actually expensive. How about for spatial data? But if we can have those platforms, so here and on the what you see on the screen is to explore these open source applications like GeoServer, Postgres, OpenLayers, and the Leaflet, leveraging the power of OpenStreetMap, making use of Leaflet, OpenLayers, and GeoServer. By so doing, we make these datasets open to everyone. So at the moment, we are operating independently to find out, like Zimbabwe, it's having its own systems, South Africa is having its own systems, Nigeria is having its own systems. We have these pockets of systems that are actually even malfunctioning, some of them. But if we can come as one and create one system, take for instance, look at US Geological Services, how they have that portal of accessing their data sets. Could it be raster data? Could it be vector data? That platform makes it makes everyone have a authentic platform for accessing spatial data, of which we can also make use of these tools. So like I said, that OpenStreetMap of late has been working very, very, very hard. I was sometimes even wondering, how could they even know the street of where I stay with its name, with correct? So it has actually been doing a great job. So while OpenStreetMap is still offering us free data access on its platforms, why can't we harvest that data and put it into the databases? After putting into the databases, we can create platforms where people can download or where people can visualize, just visualize data visualization. So OpenStreetMap is actually, or it offers a crowdsourced, freely available mapping platforms. It actually even empowers local communities to contribute and to maintain geospatial data in cases whereby when they were capturing their information, I'm not pretty sure how they are collecting the data, but there are times where you get to a point or a certain location is written wrongly. Then later on, maybe after 2 months, you find that is corrected. So all those things, it actually shows that there is an engagement of local communities in the contribution of the maintaining of this spatial data. So we can take advantage of this initiative that was done by OpenStreetMap to create proper platforms. We can subdivide platforms maybe by divisions and say Southern Africa, East Africa, West Africa, or we can work just like an organization like European Space Agents. Those guys, they are not working as English. Britain doesn't work on its own. France doesn't work on its own. But they did a collaborative work that everyone who is in Europe who wants the spatial data, you can actually first, before you narrow down to a national data, you can actually use a continental data, which we don't have as Africa, which we don't have any pride in that. Whenever we would want to do any analysis, spatial analysis, or whenever we would want to carry out any research, we still go back to American data sets. We still go back to European data sets. We still go back to other sources. And those sources, honestly, I don't think those people can put full commitment into making sure that the data sets are into the standards that we want. But the standard will be just a blanket standard or an umbrella standard that covers the whole world. Yet we need to have our own African data standard. We need to even have our own legal frameworks when it comes to that. By taking advantage of such platforms like OpenStreetMap, that has already taken a good initiative, and then making use of open source systems like GeoServer, Postgres, Leaflet OpenLayers, like what I was talking about on my previous slide, a collaborative nature of a OpenStreetMap, that it actually engages the local communities to get that. Then I'll just briefly to talk about these animals that I've been talking about, which is GeoServer, OpenLayers, and the Leaflet. A GeoServer is actually an open source server for publishing spatial data. I have used GeoServer in many projects in Zimbabwe. Some of them governmental projects, some of them private companies projects. It's actually performing very well. So it's actually I haven't come to a point of overusing a GeoServer to say I've used GeoServer to its full capacity. Though I know that if we would populate much of the data sets, it will come to a point of maybe to say getting tired or getting full. But at least, as I'm saying that I've once tested with volumes and volumes of data, I had no problems. So it actually plays a crucial role in overcoming data access challenges. So because it can actually store both raster data and vector data, and by way of visualization, you can visualize it as a web map features or web map services. So GeoServer basically it's a open source server that is good for publishing spatial data. Then it has got this flexibility again and customization that you can actually customize. We can customize our data sets. OpenStreetMap, I've seen even the visualization of its data. It has customized some of the things. You can actually know that these are bus stops, these are roads, these are most of the things. So even in GeoServer, one can do that. And then another thing on its flexibility is that it suits specific requirements supporting effective decision making. As a developer, as a programmer, I've tried to even explore in the customization of it. Could it be the styles of it? You customize it the way you would want. I'll just talk of one of the most popular proprietary system that we use even for web mapping, like ArcGIS, the ESRI one. There are some of the things that you cannot have control over when it comes to customization. They may give you some limited, but they seem to be unlimited. But if you draw down, you find out that you cannot control some of the back end. Most of the things are more to do with the front end. Even for those who are developers for Esri, you find out that when it now comes to the public, we have this limit that you cannot go beyond the developers of Esri. But in Africa, we have software engineers, we have developers, we have programmers. We can make use of this open source platform, which is a GeoServer. Then Leaflet is a JavaScript library for web mapping. So now for publishing our data sets, we can make use of Leaflet and OpenLayers because they provide interactive map interfaces, facilitating visualization and interaction with OpenStreetMap data. So it's a matter of us taking the OpenStreetMap data, put it into the GeoServer, customize it, and then push it to JavaScript. On JavaScript now, by making use of OpenLayers and Leaflet, we can even produce a mobile application for data collection and even for visualization for our data access. Right. Then the another advantages of using these platforms is to overcome some barriers that we're having. By incorporating Leaflet OpenLayers into GIS application, we overcome technological barriers. It actually enables enable user-friendly access even on mobile device. Like I had explained, I actually had to put a thematic diagram there to see the process of it. All this is not paid for, it's actually for free, just like OpenStreetMap data. But then we'll be maybe interested in having open source things than proprietary systems. Then on the screen there is one of the applications that I developed for a certain local authority using some of OpenStreetMap data for roads. Then I was also using other spatial data sets that we collected. I was part of the project that we collected the data. This one is dealing with water infrastructure. So you see water lines, water valves, fire hydrants there in the map. So I just wanted to show you the power of making use of GeoServer, Leaflet, and OpenLayers. Here I was using here, as for this one, I was using a Leaflet. Even if you go to OpenLayers, you find out that the platform is so flexible enough that you can actually do anything. You can even do queries there. It's not only for data visualization, but you can actually do analysis. And all these systems, like I said, that they are in pockets. I want to believe that somebody who is not in Zimbabwe, I've been to several countries in Africa, I've been to Nigeria, I've seen a number of developers, people who can develop applications, but those applications are still hidden in corners, in those corners, in Nigerian corner, in Ghanaian corner, in Cameroonian corner. They are not out there. So even when Europeans are seeing us, they see us as people who cannot even develop their own systems, or people who cannot initiate anything. So this is one of the applications that I developed. So towards my conclusion, this is a sort of a conceptual diagram that I wanted to show you how it actually operates. It deals much with programmers. Those who are programmers will understand the language that I'm speaking. But basically, my presentation was much on us taking advantage of OpenStreetMap to make sure that everyone easily access the data sets. Yes, OpenStreetMap has many platforms of accessing its data. For instance, if you're using Quantum GIS, you can actually have a way of accessing that data, but it's not everyone who is conversant with the Quantum GIS or ArcGIS or these other platforms, or even to get you into internet and download OpenStreetMap. You need, maybe somebody need to be a spatial or a geographic information system specialist for him to leverage those data sets. But if we can have these data sets being visualized just like how we would visualize anything on Google search, you just Google search and get the data just like that. Those systems are missing or are insufficient or are inadequate in Africa. So basically, this is what on my short presentation I wished to share with others. So collaborative and capacity building, this, if we work in collaboration, what is needed basically is for us as Africans to collaborate and do capacity building for each and everyone. We go all around Africa picking those people who can do such a job. A programmer here, a programmer here, a database manager here, a database manager there. Then we collaborate and do capacity building and come up with one good and proper and authentic system for data access. With that, I'd like to submit my gratitude for the privilege that I was given to present my presentation. Thank you so much. Hello? Anyone in the house?
Thank you so much for that insight.
Thank you
Okay,
for your
Mr. Victor, you can go on.
presentation. Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Yeah, do we have questions? Anyone from the audience question for Manuel?
I just want to thank him for the great work he has done. And really, it's amazing. We hope for the best.
I have a question.
See confidence.
Yes, hi.
Hand. You can go ahead.
Go ahead.
Alright.
Sorry, Janan, sorry, we have to start the next session. We don't have time for questions and answers. Maybe Mr. Manuel can drop his contact in the chat if anyone wants to follow up with him. But we have to start the next session now. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.